right, so let's read another book. Today we are going to be reading Hunger Like No Other. This is the most rated book in my review series. I believe it's a part of a 21 book series. Romance.io said this was the first book in the series, and then Amazon Kindle said this is book 2. I know that the first book was published after this one, so we're just gonna go with this one. It's also the most expensive book in my review at $13.99. At least the other ones I could say were like $4, so this better be good. Published by Simon and Schuster Digital Sales LLC. It's probably too small for you to see on the screen, but this was our first 4 on an average rating. Everything else that I've done before has been lower than 4. As at the time of when I read it, so I know that a few of them have changed since I've started this. Made by Kresley and has a 4 out of 5 spice rating. Published March 28, 2006, which is the second earliest book. The next book that I'll be reviewing is the oldest book. Has 580 ratings, which makes it the most. And here's the book cover. Number 1 New York Times bestseller. That's good. So was the last one. Holly Hazelwood, which I believe is getting a lot of fame recently because she wrote some very popular books that are new. Says it's the OG alpha werewolf and vampire book. Spoilers. Fated Mates romance. Spoilers. So at least we have werewolves and vampires. So maybe this. God, I hope there's no humans. That's where I'm at this point. Like, I don't want another Twilight. Can we have it be the vampire and a werewolf? That'd be interesting. I haven't read something like that yet. I guess Underworld was kind of like that, but that was more murdery than romance. We got a man behind a woman who's looking at me. We like when the woman's looking at me. Nice blue eyes, blonde hair. Blue hair? I really like this cover. It's kind of unique and fantastical. Very excited. This is, I mean, I don't know how I'll say we can actually find a good book. His last 2 books have not exactly been the best in my favorites. So looking forward to this, especially anything that was setting trends and stuff. 21 book series. I'm glad you like writing. I hope this is a good one. So I'm gonna go read a book and I'll tell you how I like the book. All right, so I read the book, and it was really good. I think it's my favorite so far. Tyrion School is good, but leaning more into world building and fantasy, while this book is, in my opinion, almost all romance. They're both great books, but in different ways, and I think I'm more looking for romance at this time. I easily give this book a 5-star read. At no point was I bored. The world building was incredible. The plot was not predictable, and it was super fun to read. Every single character introduced, none of them were one-dimensional. They were all interesting and felt really fleshed out, and they felt like real people. The spice is easily the best I've read so far. It's exactly what I'm looking for. The vampire thing was there, like in the last review, where I was, kind of triggered with the vein thing, but there was no specifically veins being sucked on, which helped me a lot more. They just drank blood and it was hot, which is what I expected from vampires. I expected, the biting and stuff to be a turn on, and this definitely was. And the romance felt earned, and I was never questioning why they liked each other. It felt real and relatable and really sexy. The fantasy portion of the book, actually served the plot and was used in a way that was really fun. You don't really find in other situation. Like, you couldn't just replace everything with humans and it worked. That's not happening. I read the book in about 10 hours, and I've read about 5 hours in 2 days. I could not put it down once I started reading it. It was just like so good. And the ending just gets so unhinged. Did not see it coming. It was really good and well done. Go read the book. It's really good. It's part of a 21 book series. So I looked it up, and there was a prequel, sort of, that was written in the same year as this book. It deals with a different romance and a different characters. Not sure why it's a prequel. It was labeled as 0.5 book on romance.io, while this book that I read was number 1. On Amazon says this one is number 2 and the other one's number 1, but we're just going with this one. I looked at a lot of the books and they look like they were had to deal with different romances and different characters in the same settings. I think the next book deals with 2 of the side characters that we meet. So just, let you know that the series is more of like exploring this universe instead of carrying on a story with the same people. I looked at the triggers and there's a little bit of dubious consent in the beginning, but it's done in a way really to serve the MMC's character arc and growth. So I thought it was done in a very tasteful way, and I don't think there's anything to be worried about as far as triggers. Yeah, 5 stars. Well, I really like the book. That's all I have to say without spoilers. So from here on out, there's spoilers. So the general synopsis we start with is there's a 70-year-old vampire, half vampire lady who's looking for her father in Paris, and she doesn't know anything about him, doesn't know who he is, just knows he's blonde and he's a vampire. And her mother was a Valkyrie, so she was surprised as Paris of Troy, and she's trying to hunt down kind of like her lineage. And then we have the Virgin Werewolf King, or Lycan, whatever, you're all werewolves to me. He has been chained up for 150 years, burning from an everlasting fire by the vampires who captured him 150 years ago, and they're just torturing him. Since he's immortal, I guess. He's keeping his insanity at bay with his yearning for his true mate that he's never met and has been waiting for 1,000 years. And then he sniffs her out because he's under Paris in the catacombs somewhere. So he smells the vampire and finds the power and energy to get out of this torture by ripping his entire leg off, and then as a werewolf does werewolf things and goes hunting for his true mate. Takes him about a week. Notice how I said Virgin Werewolf King. Yeah, both the MMC and the FMC are virgins. What an interesting concept. Because usually the trope is that the woman is a virgin, the man has experience. I've always believed if you want to desire a virgin wife or husband and stuff, that you should be seeking to be a virgin yourself. Like, I don't like the double standards that we have in society where the woman's supposed to be a virgin and the man's not supposed to be. Like, who's the men supposed to get experience with? I understand that my opinion is not popular and stuff, but it's like to point out in this case, they're both virgins. It's really cool how later this is used because she can read his memories and she's like, I really don't want to see another woman in his past, and there ain't. It's a really interesting idea of like, no, I've been yearning for you for 1,000 words, and I've been faithful this whole time, thinking about my true mate and being faithful for that. It's really a testament to like love. This man is a legend. Like, I can't believe he was abstained for 1,000 years with very willing werewolves wanting to give themselves to this for his true mate. It's really endearing. Our FMC's excuse is not as cool. She just never really desired it. I guess didn't really have time to, but she's only a 70-year-old immortal, haven't really been around. So our Virgin King has broken out of his bonds with the power of his 1,000-year abstinence. She's meek and a nerd that loves music and listening to her iPod, and she has never drank from another human. Yeah, she's not only a virgin in bed, she's a virgin, a bloodsucker. I don't really know what the plan was here. She says she's only drank liquid from like a cup or like a blood bank and stuff, but she's been in Paris for a week and she needs it daily. So, and she says that there's no like blood banks or access to blood in Paris. Like, what were you planning here? Like, when were you going to get blood? None of that matters anyways, because our MMC heroically offers himself up to be drank from because he has to give in to her needs. She is his true mate. His instincts tell him he has to do whatever the fuck she says, which he instantly demands she sucks from him because he wants to make sure all her needs are met. So he tracks her down, takes her hostage to her apartment and stuff. And this is where the dubious consent comes from, because he's this werewolf, this person that has been 1,000-year virgin, and he's never been with a woman. Now he's got his true mate, and his instincts are telling him, but he's rejecting in his mind because she's a vampire, and he can sniff it out. So he's kind of sees her as an object. So he starts like playing with her and penetrating her and stuff without her asking, even though her body is telling her yes. So he sniffs out the instincts and says that she's wants it. She doesn't understand why she wants it. He's not going to tell him. I would say if there's anything that I didn't like about the book, it was here where like you should be telling her like about the true mate stuff. They kind of hand wave it later on, but like I don't understand why they're withholding information at this point. Like, just tell her, man. Tell her what's going on. She should be telling him stuff too. There's a lot of hate and animosity there that they don't want to talk to each other. It felt kind of forced to give our dramatic tension and stuff, but I would say that he should have been much more forthcoming with information at this time. And this is where I talk about a lot of character growth. Like, both the MMC and the FMC go through this character growth of becoming different people. So at this point, he wants to like kill her and like have his way with her and just move on and find his true mate. He doesn't think a vampire could be it. But his body won't let him do that. His instincts and body are refusing to let him hurt her. And so he has to cope and come up with this idea that she is his true mate. And there's a lot of ways they play with this. Like, one of the things is that he wants to have her drink from him because he finds sexual pleasure from it. I have no idea how, but it sounds interesting the way it's described. But she won't do it because she doesn't trust him to not hurt her or lay his hands on her, like, because she becomes in a sexually compromised position with this. So she doesn't trust him to do that. So he grips the back of the poster board and is like, I won't touch it. I won't put my hands on you. And they're both going through this very heightened sexual arousal. He like breaks the board off while she's sucking his blood and rubbing up all against him. It's very hot and attractive. And it's just this character growth of she can tell him to do whatever she wants. She just has to realize it. She doesn't realize she has the agency to like control him because he will do whatever she says. And she's meek and a coward. I haven't really seen this before in a vampire where like they always are driven by these instincts, but not her. She's very controlled, very introverted, and very meek, and not realizing, how powerful vampires can be. So she's learning to come into her own, learning to find agency in her life and power and abilities and stuff. And he's helping her along with that. He is becoming more nice and empathetic and understanding and like always trying to attend to her needs while also not trying to stifle her as well. It's really nice seeing this character grow from both the MMC and the FMC. And it's very relatable. I remember when I was young, I had to like control my urges and control my hands and all that stuff. And it was not easy. And what I love about this whole trope is that like usually in these kind of romance novels, the woman's body betrays her. But in this case, it's both of their bodies. The man's body is also betraying him. He's trying to do things that would be abusive, but his body is forcing him not to because it's his true mate. It's really this interesting dynamic. I really loved enjoying playing with this and all the consequences that happen from it. It's just like small little things like not being able to touch her with his hands and not having to force her to do things that he wants her to do that he would usually do in some kind of like dark romance or werewolf book. That's why I give like the dubious consent more of a pass, because it's built upon, it's done in a tasteful way as a character growth, and he regrets those actions during the time. All right, so the king of the virgins needs to get back to his castle so he can, lord over his virgins. And he doesn't know how to drive, doesn't know how to do any kind of technology. He's been out for 150 years. Now we have iPods and cars. Now it's in contemporary times. So he makes a deal. And she's like, I will give you, golden necklaces and whatever you desire if we get to Scotland and stuff. And she's half Valkyrie. And apparently the Valkyrie's weakness is baubles and trinkets. Makes a deal with her. And she's like, okay, but more out of boredom. And like, she's ready to go on an adventure. And then the next third of the book is then heading to the castle, learning about each other. Like they talk and relate, they have dinner, they go on like a date and stuff, and just find out more about each other as they're heading to Scotland. We learn all the nuances about vampires, that hasn't been part of the normal vampire clique, that there's no female vampires around because these things that are happening. there's this check on immortals where the universe itself like gives them some kind of bloodlust or turns them into combats to cull their numbers. They can't just keep turning more and more immortals on around. And in one of these events, they killed all the female vampires. So there's no more vampire brides, and she's like considered one of the only female vampires in the world. And there's vampires trying to hunt her down to make that their bride. And that's most of the book. The most of the book is them relating and talking and finding more out about each other and making their way to the castle. They make it to the castle like around 60% of the book finally and stuff, and realize he actually is a king. And he has this cool castle for her to explore and have fun with now. And then we get to meet his family, his cousins, and a girl that has always really wanted them. Get into some dramatic tension with them both wanting the king of virgins. And then her family is worried about her. She's trying to contact them and let them know she's okay, but she's with the werewolves, and everyone knows that's not okay. So now they're trying to also hunt her down and help save her and stuff. But I love this equality of the situation, because even though she's kind of a hostage and stuff, she still has power over him, as she's starting to learn. She has power to protect herself, because these werewolves are very aggressive and physical, and they start challenging her, but she's a vampire. So she is learning that she can just backhand them, and just they love it. Everyone's like cheering her on whenever someone like gets out of line. She backhands a werewolf because she's a vampire. It's pretty cool. And the werewolves are discovering that they have a queen now, and she's a vampire, and it's not going to go well with that. They kind of hate each other. And then the Valkyries, you find out that they like to eat electricity or something, which makes sense because she's really dependent on her iPod and music and electronic devices. And he's like, why does she like them all much? It's like, maybe she's feeding off the electricity there, And the werewolves are so much fun. I really enjoyed they had all these side characters that talked in wacky Scotland accents and stuff, but they still had their own little personalities and would say stuff that the writing prose was completely different for each one. And it was really fun to read. And you have demons too there. There's so much to explore. And then we get the next dramatic tension, which is that the full moon's coming up. And the full moon, the werewolves become very aggressive and lose their mind. And he's around his true mate. So she needs to accept this true mate thing, because he's not going to be able to contain himself pretty shortly. And she's still rejecting him and not understanding why she can't leave and stuff like that. So there's this big build up to this full moon at this point, which is the next 10% of the book, where she's going to have to either accept it or get out of there fast, because all of the staff knows what's going to happen on the full moon. And they're aggressively making enough food for the night and stuff. And they're all packing up. They're getting out of there. They know what happens when the werewolf on his full moon is around his true mate. And she incapacitates him trying to get out during the full moon by giving him a blowjob and biting into his dick and sucking his blood through it. And he loves it. I can't relate. You can have that one. But then she decides to run. He's incapacitated. He's passed out and stuff. It's the full moon. She's her instincts are telling her to run and not to a car, to the woods. I was like, I don't think that's going to work out for you. She's running through the woods with the king of the virgins in his castle doing his Arwoo thing. And this is where I really, really like this part, because it's a full moon. He's getting all his instincts and stuff, but she is also getting the instincts. Our FMC is also starting to become kind of a werewolf. She's the true mate. If she's going to be the true mate of the werewolf, she's going to start feeling things too. She starts feeling in love with the moon, with the nature, with animal instincts that she didn't have before. So while he's changing and becoming aggressive, so is she. And her instincts are telling her to be chased, and she wants to be chased, and he wants to chase her. Captures her, and even though he's incredibly insane in this moment, he still has the power to make sure he has consent. And now she's a sort of half werewolf true mate thing on a full moon, and she's giving full consent at this point, showing that she's very much in heat. It gets good. This smut was so good. We get the smut dancer. Oh my god, it was incredible. I need to read all the werewolf books. Like I'm definitely been missing out. Like, yeah, she's a vampire, but in this moment she's a werewolf and he's a werewolf and they're doing werewolf things on a full moon. It gets very full moony for sure. Definitely a 4 out of 5 spice rating. And this is what I need in my life. So congratulations to both our FMC and MMC. They are no longer virgins. Only took us 80% of the book. Y'all are going to want to read this. It is probably the best spice I've read in the past 6 books. Ow! And then they've fully accepted the whole true mate thing. Like, they can't deny it after what just happened under the full moon in the grass with their bodies. They're like, why were we fighting? I don't know. They have some amazing post-coitus for sure. And they're settling into this life. And my God, it's so adorable. She can only be out at night. She can't be out during the day. So she gets hurt a lot if she's out during the day. So she's never seen a blooming flower. And that's always been one of her own desires. She keeps seeing her trying to like smell a flower during the night, but she's always getting frustrated with it. So he gives her a night solarium with this entire like terrarium of flowers that bloom at night. And it's so cute. And our king has to do king things. So he has to do like paperwork and stuff. And he's like, here's the MasterCard, here's Amazon, make the castle yours. And she's like, oh no, you just gifted me the one thing I want. Like the Valkyrie in her wants to buy a bunch of things. And he's like, why do you need 100 bottles of nail polish? Like, don't ask questions, man. Just let her buy things. And then the other part of why she was never wanting to drink from blood, that her mother said don't ever do it, is because she starts getting memories. She can now remember things that he did, experience his past lives, and she has all this anxiety built up in her about finding some past fling that he had. But he has none. All she ever keeps encountering is him looking at the full moon, wishing for her and waiting for her and yearning for her. That's the emotional experiences that he was going through for 1,000 years, was thinking about her. And it's so beautiful. This is why it's so important that he's a virgin as well. There's no one for her to discover that he had a fling with. She was his first and he was her first. I love it. It's really romantic. Can't really claim your heart is all hers if you have all these past experiences in the back. Like you're always going to have that with you. Now she can experience that with him. She starts also getting the memories of him burned alive too, which really hurts him too. He doesn't want to see her suffer like that. All right, so that's 70% of the book, and we live happily ever after in the castle when we get our happy ending. Wait, did I say 70%? What else could possibly happen in this book? And this is where I was talking about the ending just gets unhinged. Like, you could have ended here. You could have ended this wonderful, them falling in love and preparing for the next book. But no, that's not what happens. But we'll get to that later. Okay, let's talk about our antagonist. So basically, we've come to the conclusion that there's not really any good vampires except for our FMC. They all are just super abusive and just kill people and drink their blood and stuff and don't really have any inhibitions. The Valkyries and the werewolves are kind of like sort of allied to fight against the vampires. You have these events that happen like every 500 years. I forgot off the top of my head what they called it, but it's basically a culling of immortals. The immortals get too powerful, if left lethargic. They can create new mortals. The vampires can create new vampires. The wolves can create new werewolves and so forth. So if they're immortal, none of them ever die. So the universe itself comes around every 500 years and forces them into situations where they have to fight. It's not really explained at all how this works at all. Like, to me, it felt like they just coincidentally did things. Like, for instance, the entire story of the book that we just read. The universe sets up these true mate things to happen that causes conflicts between all the sides of the vampires, werewolves, and Valkyries. And this brings conflict between all these forces, like all these situations that just happen. It's a really interesting concept. I really liked it. There's so much you could do with it. So the antagonist is the king of the vampires, and they have some kind of hierarchy and whatnot. And you have other vampires that are trying to usurp his throne. And to do that, he needs to be part of the bloodline. And he finds out that the king of the vampires had a daughter. That's right. Our FMC is a princess. And she pieces it together by drinking the MMC's blood and getting the memories of the past 1,000 years and realizing who the king of the vampires is and realizing how much she looks like him. So it's a really cool reveal that we're going through this romance and she's getting all these memories and stuff and piecing together who her dad is. And then during this time, the vampires are trying to hunt her down because she's the last female vampire in the world. The vampire king's second in command wants to usurp the throne, but he needs a claim to the bloodline, and he would do it by marrying his daughter and becoming like a vampire bride, which is kind of like a true mate thing, like with werewolves. It wasn't really explained very well, but that's how I viewed it. So here we are. We're in a happy, nice little castle. They're getting along, and he wants to go and take out his revenge on the main villain. And I really thought it was setting up for this villain to be like, a overarching villain for like 3 books or something. And then the Valkyries bust open the door to the castle to come and rescue their princess. It definitely didn't explain how they found it. It felt kind of like the female werewolf that was in love with the king betrayed them, but that didn't really confess to it. Either way, the Valkyries are coming in. The king's kind of not doing very well defending the castle here. The vampires show up too. So you got vampires, werewolves, and the Valkyries in combat here, trying to like save the princess, and like no one's asking her what she wants. And she's getting these memories and realizing all this fate and stuff. So she goes and touches a vampire. And all the vampires have this ability where they can teleport to anywhere they've ever been. Well, as long as they are touching someone, they can also bring them along too. So in the middle of this whole fight, our FMC kind of like consciously goes and touches the vampire because she wants to go see her dad. She's very upset with her dad about what he's done and everything about his life because she can remember the things he's done through the MMC's blood drinking. And she goes with the intention of killing him. I like if it wasn't for like some kind of fate thing, I'd be like, you're so in trouble now. She gets teleported to the king's castle, which is protected by a spell, and the MMC has never been able to find this castle. It's somewhere in Russia. And no one can teleport into this room except for the king of the vampires. So she's left there, and he comes and confronts her. And he, does a little bit of monologuing. He's probably going to kill her very shortly and stuff, but wants to talk to her. And you can see what the effect of blood drinking does to vampires. They start going insane with all these images of their victims, seeing them as this horrible, evil villain right before they die. Puts them so much more context of why they're so broody all the time. Like, man, I thought Twilight was emo, but this is emo. So they explain like how the vampire dad like came to meet her mother and how she came to be. And then he also confesses he doesn't remember the king anymore. And this was actually really a big thing with the MMCs, that he thought that he was really punishing, but it seems like they just kind of forgot about him in the fire, which absolutely sucks. But at least he can like move on from this, So the vampire lord comes to kill her and stuff, and she actually pulls off a pretty cool move. She bursts the glass in the room and stuff, and it's during the day in the sunlight. And she uses his body as a shield as he gets hit by the sun, and she doesn't. And it kind of incapacitates him for a second, and she like runs him through with a sword and stuff and slays the king of the vampires. I was like, what happened? He was like built up to be such a badass, and she takes him out in like a chapter. I really thought that the villa was going to be like this overarching thing, and I guess we can have other villains and antagonists or something. Like, I did not see this coming at all. It's so unhinged in the way that she just goes out there and just fucking takes him out. Just takes him out. I don't know how to explain it even better. And then the lieutenants come in and they're like, oh my God, you just slayed him, and we have proof now. And she doesn't want to be captured, so she flings herself in the middle of the day outside and then teleports back home to the Valkyries in Louisiana where it's nighttime. And then our MMC was sniffing her out and trying to find the castle to protect his true mate. He was on his way there to like protect her. So he's now in battle with the vampires because she just teleported away and missed out. And they confess they have it on video proof that she killed the king of the vampires. He kills the lieutenant guy that was trying to make her bride. Like, we have these two huge antagonists that are, throughout the entire book were being such a menace. And they get both taken out in like a chapter. I mean, that's a decision, I guess. A decision I would have made. You know, we gotta milk these guys for all they're worth. But yeah, like it was actually a really cool scene. Like I really enjoyed. I wish they could have had the fight scene between the lieutenant, the guy, like the kind of the more main antagonist, a little bit longer. He just kind of like jukes him and then stabs him. Like, sure, I guess that worked. But like how the FMC killed the king vampire was very unique and creative, but the lieutenant just died. Yeah, like just we could have drawn that one out a little bit more. I don't know. So he gets video or USB or something to have proof that she, you know, survived. And then he heads back to Louisiana on a flight. You know, he can't teleport like she can. She's in trouble now because she's like bleeding and can't survive, and she needs to drink blood, and she refuses to drink blood because she knows that if she drinks blood, she gets the memories of the person that she drinks. So she's refusing to drink blood, and she can't heal. And she finally gets there like 2 days later, and willfully gets captured by the Valkyries, who are very upset, and they don't believe her when she says she killed the king of the vampires. But hey, he's got proof now. Like, he's in his prison cell in the Valkyrie room, and he's like climbing through the ceiling. He's like, hey, buddy, can you like hold the ceiling here real quick while I climb up so you don't get crushed? Like, all right. And then he finds her and allows her to drink from him, and she heals up, and everyone's like, all right, I guess we'll allow this marriage to happen. And then the Valkyries and the werewolves, you know, make up, and they do like unique things. Like, apparently the Valkyries have movie night, and they have popcorn they throw at everyone because they don't eat popcorn. It's all really cute, honestly. And that's where we leave our book. Like, there's no more plot arcs left. Everything's been resolved. The antagonists are dead. I was like, this is a 21 book series? What's happening in the next book? But yeah, I went and researched it, and it's like a different couple. Like, it's going through a different romance. Like, this one's done. It's ended. They've killed their antagonists. They've made up. They went through their character arc and growth. They've both become powerful, loving people that are in love with each other. They get married and go back to the castle, and they make it their own. And like, Jesus, I'm so jealous. Yeah, like it seems like the 21 book series is just kind of like exploring the universe with different couples, and we don't get to see our FMC, MFC, but so like a side character or something. So yeah, I've talked about the FMC and the MFC. We've talked about the world building and how enjoyable it was. The plot was you know, it was there, and the romance was mainly the plot. It all worked. It was all a self-contained book. The character growths were very unique experiences for me. I mean, maybe you've read stories like this before. I just had a blast with it. Like, I just couldn't put it down. And the spice was so good. It was exactly what I'm looking for in spice. And I know I need to like read more werewolf books. And the world building was really good. I really like this concept of immortals being cold and the different factions and how unique they are. They're all just kind of like insane, but that's what you kind of expect from people who are 1,000 years old. They just kind of go insane. It's just unhinged, and these people are absolutely crazy, and I want to read more about them. So yeah, I'm going to be reading all of the books eventually, I'm sure. Definitely want to get through this series first, but I'm very excited to return to this series. I love the writing style. I love the writing prose. All the characters felt very fleshed out, and there's a lot of thought put into all these people. All the writing prose for each one just felt so unique, and it was just so much fun to read. So yeah, I absolutely had a blast. Thank you for writing the book, author. I can't wait to read the rest you have. I hope you enjoy the coffee money I gave you, and I'll see you all in the next one.